Donald Trump entered the presidential race last night in a very different media environment than the last time he made the big announcement. During his first bid for the White House, nearly every rally of his was aired live on all three cable news networks and beyond. But this one was nothing like that, with some networks dipping in and out and others not even taking it live at all. Want us to wonder whether a brutal midterm election for Republicans, which many blamed on Trump, combined with the repetition of his personal grievances, has taken some of the sheen off of what had long been catnip for the media on both sides of the political aisle. Maybe most notably what has happened with the world of Rupert Murdoch's media empire. Yesterday it was reported that Murdoch personally told Trump that his political career is, quote, over, and even threatened to back a Democratic candidate in 2024. Murdoch owns many conservative media outlets, such as the Wall Street Journal, whose editorial board has recently ripped Trump to shreds with opinion pieces like this, quote, "What will Democrats do when Donald Trump isn't around to lose elections?" They asked, after noting Trump has now flopped in 2018, 2020, 2021, and 2022. And of course, there's the New York Post, which, following the midterms, published front pages that featured the DeSantis family with a big "De Future" headline, and another cover that depicted Trump as Humpty Dumpty with copy that reads, "Don, who couldn't build a wall, had a great fall. Can all the GOP's men put the party back together again?" But the biggest slight may have been how they trolled Trump's big announcement today by putting at the very bottom of the front page, quote, "Florida man makes announcement," story of which was buried on page 26. Even on Fox News, the crown jewel of the Murdoch media empire, many conservative pundits have suddenly started throwing Trump under the bus.
If the voters conclude that you're putting your own ego or your own grudges ahead of what's good for the country, they're going to look elsewhere, period.
I don't think Republicans want to hear infighting between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. And right now, Donald Trump keeps taking shots at Ron DeSantis. That is not going to play well.
If people are making the choice right now between Ron DeSantis and the former president, they're going with the Florida governor.
Please, Mr. President, don't run again.
But pockets of Fox News primetime appear to still be serving as the unofficial boosters for the former president. Last night on Sean Hannity's show, they cut away from his speech only to grovel and highlight just how great Donald Trump really is.
This looks like Trump in as good a form as you've ever seen him.
The construct of the speech is pitch perfect. If he keeps on like this tonight, he is unbeatable in 2024.
There's only one original who got to the White House and fought.
I agree with Pete. He stays and keeps it between the ditches, and this focus, he's unbeatable.
Now, it's notable that CNN took Trump's speech, and they also cut away, but predictably it was to criticize him. And true to form, MSNBC ignored the speech entirely. But even today, there's far less coverage the day after than one would expect, with a former president announcing he is seeking the presidency again, particularly someone who had been a lightning rod like Trump. And that may be the ultimate concern for the Trump campaign. It just seems that a lot less people care. Joining me now is the founding editor of Mediaite.com, a site that I founded, Colby Hall. Colby, good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So what do you make of this? The lack of attention to some degree from the media, others in the media turning on him, but the surprising almost indifference from the media about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a real problem for Trump. I think the problem here is that it's a rerun. And it's a rerun, not a second rerun, it's a third rerun. And no one tunes in to see a show you've already seen, let alone a show that features a star that we've now learned to, like, say crazy things and talk trash about you. So, yeah, I think there is indifference, there's no surprise, and also Trump, he's a Borscht Belt comedian giving the same material that he's been giving forever. He's been giving the same invasion of the border and same grievances that you set up. And no one wants it anymore. It's tired, and it honestly, it puts the media outlets in a bit of a tough spot because, of course, he's the former president, presumptive leader of the GOP. I think some of the outlets are really, struggling with, like, how much they want to get into this.
Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNationNow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.